I am your host, Jeff, and I am joined by...
Your co-host, Kevin Smith.
Sweet, we did survive season 1. Now we're going on to season 2.
Season 1 felt like an appetizer for season 2, didn't it?
Yeah, it definitely felt like the prologue to the story to me.
Yeah, like it was a lot of fun and it was very concise. There wasn't a lot of filler. And then it went away for what? A year?
Approximately. It was largely due to the writer's strike that took place at the time. So everything went to a screeching halt. Then you had to pick right back up again. As evidenced by their moving into a new house, they probably did not have access to the previous sets.
Yes. Actors, certain characters didn't return, side characters that didn't really matter.
Oh, shit.
The blonde girl that was supposed to be interested in John in the first season, but her dad was abusive somehow.
Yeah.
Like, that's out the window.
She was way more intriguing than the chick we got this season, in my opinion.
I have opinions.
Ooh, do tell. Anyway.
I had a lot more opinions on this season than I did the last.
Yeah.
So, but a lot more happens in this season, though. I mean, aside from the fact that there's like 12 more episodes.
Yeah, like we got a bunch more characters, much more different subplots running around. So everything definitely got a little more wild this season. Season 1 was pretty short and concise and to the point. I really like that. I don't know. Maybe it's all these newer shows and they only go 10 or 13 episodes instead of 22, where 9 or 10 of them are all filler. And then the other 10 to 13 are actually like actual plot episodes. I think I might be used to that because I was watching this season, and I can tell you for sure, I've only seen the first episode of season 2 here before. I didn't remember it, but I have seen that episode. The rest of these episodes, I have not seen. So this was my first time watching them. So to answer everybody's questions, this is the first watch for me.
Same here. I remember watching at least the pilot and the last episode to the first season, maybe sporadically in between, but I never did get to see Shirley Manson, and I was always pissed off about that.
Yeah.
So this season's kind of a treat in its own way.
Yeah, even though we lost a few cast members, we did gain some new ones, and they were at least very intriguing. We also had another slew of great guest stars that showed up. I recognized a few people from, say, like Stargate SG-1, Battlestar Galactica, and I also recognized Odin from the new God of War Ragnarok game. He was in an episode in the first half. And full disclosure, everybody, we're only covering episodes 1 through 11. We're splitting these up. We're going to cover episodes 12 through 22 on our next episode as we wrap up Terminator Season 2. But, we got some great guest stars to start off this first half, and I was pretty pleased with everybody's roles. They all did very well.
Yeah. Most notably for me, that I was happiest to see was probably Dean Norris from Tremors. Like
yes.
You said, Stargate.
Or Breaking Bad. He was in Breaking Bad too.
Was he?
Oh yeah, he actually was way serious. Think of his Tremors character, but actually more efficient and serious and badass.
Okay. Well, that's
he was great in that.
I tell you, where I fucking died laughing at a cameo was with Dr. Sherman.
Yes.
Did you recognize who he was? That's 8-Ball from Full Metal Jacket.
Oh yeah.
And I was busting a gut. My wife's like, "What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at?" I'm like, "It's 8-Ball. He's got an Alabama black snake."
I just kept looking at it and I'm like, I don't believe this.
All I could hear was that voice. No, Soul Brother number 1, Tubuku.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that he's now playing a psychiatrist instead.
I know. I'm like, wow. I mean, he did great, but they killed him off unceremoniously at the very end. But to prove a point,
it worked. I mean, like the fact that he died didn't bother me.
No.
Just like they gave up anything to do with him, or like they ran out of money to pay him any further, and it's like, okay, you're dead. Again, that was okay. He wasn't all that important as far as helping anybody along the plot.
Well, he helped the overall plot he helped teach the computer, John Henry, a little more about humanity and mortality.
Yes.
Or he tried to, and it kind of backfired on him.
Kinda. The system needed to keep power going to itself, so it took, of course, all the air conditioning and cranked up the heat. And unfortunately, it cooked him inside that little room like an egg.
Yep. Only Hannibal Lecter would be proud of that.
Exactly. But what they don't show you, that I think Ellison pointed out, was that somebody killed him and then he cooked.
Yep.
So I want to say it was probably Shirley Manson that killed him, I'm assuming.
That's what I'm thinking.
She kills everyone else in the goddamn show.
Yeah, whenever it suits the purpose to forward the plot moving of in any regard, they're dead, and she's killed them in a different form and then leaves.
Yes, like this season has like 3 themes and trends.
Oh yeah,
it's got a very deep religious aspect to it between Ellison and Shirley Manson. Shirley Manson is very much supposed to be the devil.
She sure is.
Yeah, she tempts Ellison with the truth and shows him the exoskeletons and stuff like that.
Without going with the full truth.
Yeah.
Because she's one of them.
Very much so. And I'm glad we actually got to see that in the first episode. I didn't think we were going to. And I thought it was going to kind of be like RoboCop, where she's in the bathroom, or where that guy's in the bathroom talking shit on her, like Bob Morton would have been to Dick Jones.
Exactly.
And then have the guy he was talking to turn back around and it's her. No, instead, he's taking a piss and she was the urinal. She was the urinal that he was pissing on and was pissing directly into her face.
Oh my God. That was, I'm like, hey, if a Terminator can turn into any shape and that's the shape you chose, wow, dude. Just
and then a flushing sound,
Oh, hold on, let me zip up. No, I'm kidding.
But I would have given anything to be a fly on the wall in the fucking writer's room when someone pitched that idea to Fox, like, we're gonna have him piss right in her mouth and have it be like this big 12-inch wide fucking mouth, and then it turns into her.
My guess is they pitched it a little more PG than that. Like, oh, it's gonna be a death by Terminator in the men's restroom. He's just going to use the facilities, and then he's going to take a step back, and then she's going to kill him. And it wasn't until the final product that they probably saw it and thought, I don't know about that, but it's a little too late now. So I guess we're getting this anyway.
I saw that and I got so giddy. I was like, oh, that's debaucherously wonderful. But
the way that could have been done differently is if he was in the act of urinating and all you saw was the sword through the back, and you could have CGI'd that, and then you do the transformation after as he hits the ground and been like, damn, dude.
With blown out shorts. But yeah, and then the kill, I expected her to, like you said, just stab him in a way, but was that the guy that she went to kiss and just melted down his throat?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty goddamn great. I enjoyed that kill.
Yeah, there was some pretty dope kills in this, and there were a couple of sequences where they mimicked what they did in the first season with the SWAT team dropping from the sky. You heard everything, you didn't see everything. They repeated that in this season to a great effect. Towards the later end, when we were going through all the different points of views and the final battle with Cromartie, and she's in the we got Sarah Connor in the trunk, and you hear everything going on, all the music blaring, the gunshots going off, the screaming, and then all of a sudden the car takes off, and then they open the trunk, and it's Ellison and John, and God, that whole episode had me going, what? How the fuck did they get there? What's going on? But they kept jumping point of view, so you kept not getting the full story of things.
They were trying to make an episode that's like Pulp Fiction.
I thought they did pretty good at it without it being as good, though.
No, it most certainly wasn't. Like I think The Simpsons did a better job of mimicking Pulp Fiction, but this wasn't bad. It was not bad watching the different points of views.
I
It
like
was
that, yeah.
it was bad watching the inconsistencies per each story, like them driving way the fuck away from the prison, and Cromartie has to follow them, stops and gets out of a car, and then it switches to another person's point of view, in which Cromartie just walks out of the jail and watches Ellison go into the church. Like there was no time allotted in between what happened in the previous story.
Well, what that was is they were jumping to the immediate setup because before they went to Cromartie's story, they have all met up and they're like, what do we do? Like, we got to do something. This has to end now. And then they jumped to that story and, obviously they went back to town and they surrounded the church as an ambush and started shooting when Cromartie got inside because he even told Ellis at one point that you're going to lead me to them. That's why I'm following you. SkyNet doesn't believe me, but I believe you will lead me to them. And so he sees him, and so he follows him into the church. So that was just a setup. There wasn't too much of an inconsistent. What I feel like they missed on that was a little bit of timing, is they needed to give it another couple of minutes of Cromartie walking around the town looking for him, and then circles back around, and then they're there. That would have made a lot more sense to what you're talking about, because I do see what you're saying, but they did basically set it up. They just didn't execute it as precise as they probably could have been. They're probably working with their allotted time of 45 minutes an episode. They could have had a 52-minute episode. My guess is that wouldn't have been a problem.
Probably not. No. And I feel self-conscious when I say things like that, because I know that sounds like Annie Wilkes from Misery, where she's talking about, that's not how it ended.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, it was still fun. And speaking of Cromartie, I have so very much come to like that character. I like the fact that they showed that the exoskeletons, the Triple Eights or whatever they are now, they're not a hive mind at all. Like they're starting to get free will.
Well, yeah, they're very isolating their directive, and they're taking it as needed and having to improvise and take different steps and formulate different plans. The second you start doing that, that independent thought creeps in there. Is like, I don't have anybody telling me what to do. I have to figure this out. I have to judge my surroundings, judge the events that are happening, and try and get ahead of everybody. I have to outthink them. And so that is definitely a nice touch. Like, you kind of saw it in the movies, you kind of didn't. It wasn't never really explained, but at least the idea has been floating around in Terminator since the beginning, and they finally got to expand upon it in this second season.
Yeah, I want to say they took Robert Patrick's character of going, hey, that's a sweet bike.
Yeah, or even smiling.
Yeah, it just escalated to the 10th degree. Even though, like the rest of the exoskeletons, Cromartie can't smile in a pleasant manner. It's always creepy.
God, the actor probably had to be like, oh man, I got to keep up this creepy smile for another season. Okay, just keep the checks coming and I'll do it.
No shit. Garrett Dillahunt, golly, he should have gotten an Emmy for this, or Golden Globe, something, because he was
Saturn
fantastic.
Award.
Yeah. Or one of the Rondos. No, anyway, but yeah, for playing the different characters that he did, he's done 2-3 different versions of himself at this point, I think.
Yep.
Including a Conan character.
Oh god, yeah, the TV Conan. That probably had to be the one time he's like, even though I'm in lesser clothes, I get to ham it up. I get to have a lot more fun doing this.
Yes, and he definitely looked like he was having fun, like being as cheesy as he could possibly be.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, he's fun. I'm actually rooting for Cromartie in most episodes.
Yeah, he had a lot of character development going on, like especially with Ellison. He saved Ellison from himself, which was completely crazy. And he's like, yes, you're going to lead me there, but he's like, oh my god, this character has got a lot more going on. And it actually, I know we're jumping around a little bit here, but as we're going along some of these topics, it's like, I called it with Ellison. he didn't kill him from season 1 because he's he's got an important part to play, and I think he's helping the bad guys, and he's technically on payroll. So like I made the comment about OCP and you can't kill Dick Jones. Well, that's what we're getting, even though he's unknowingly being put in this position, but he's helping the bad guys. And at the end of this episode that we were talking about here, he's the one who stole Cromartie's body.
Yeah.
Even though he fucking lied to John after getting his ass kicked by Cameron, who said, he's lying. He's lying. He's lying. And John's like, no, he's telling the truth. And she just gives him the look of like,
you're stupid.
All right. You're asking for it.
And she's right. Like, Cameron's never wrong in this show, ever.
She maybe pushes it a little too much that she's right, but maybe she should.
I think so. And we've talked about the ethics of this. Like, for the most part, the people that she's killed have been people responsible for the extermination of the human race.
Yeah.
And pretty much aren't good people to begin with. Like the douchebags that robbed the house that she killed in the fucking bowling alley.
Jesus Christ.
That was fantastic.
Oh yeah,
But again,
I'm only groaning because Sarah let the other one go. And if she had killed the fourth fucking one, a lot of problems wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, because I mean,
Marty wouldn't have tracked him.
Yeah, it wasn't Ellison that led him inevitably. It was Sarah, and she kind of paid a price for it.
And she regretted it, but
yes, and she knew it too. Like if she would have had a cyanide capsule, I'm sure she would have swallowed it.
Yeah, I mean, she was devastated. She's like, kid still died anyway.
Well, see, and that's another one of the things that I'm a bit confused about with the show. And I guess you got to kind of go with the whole MST thing. It's just a show, just relax. They don't kill people who are going to die anyway. Like, wouldn't it just be easier to just kill them and not have to like make things easier for you?
Right.
Or, and this is going to sound incredibly fucking insensitive about me, but whatever. Going back to the scene in Mexico where Cromartie is using Charlie's wife as bait and has her on this epic bomb trap.
Oh yeah,
that was a decoy in general.
I thought it was hilarious, but
yes, but like where she dies or is dying, and they're trying to like speed away from this killer fucking robot. Charlie said, "Stop the van! Stop the van, please! She's dying." Well, then why fucking stop? Like, she's gonna die regardless of the fucking velocity of the van.
Yeah, I mean, and I think you have it a little bit backwards. They were actually trying to get to John, who was at the pier, and the Terminator was going to him. And they were trying to get ahead of the Terminator. They weren't being chased by the Terminator. He got him there to trap him there. And when John didn't show up, he's like, "Oh, I'm going to set off my trap, so you guys are stuck here. And then I'm going to go get John."
Yeah, and that was the neat part was the fact that he set a decoy and then mimicked their phone security.
Yes.
That was rad.
And they had to change all of their like tactics with the phones.
Yeah, then they gave up on it for a while. Like the writers just kind of forgot to have them do that. And then
then they made it a point again later on, and then they had to change it again.
He's like pressed the button twice or whatever.
Yeah, because the date thing got screwed up, and then they forgot about that. Then
yeah, but I mean, it's like the Connors, John specifically, are not likable characters in this show for me.
Well, this season anyway.
Well, he was angsty in the last season too, and this season
not nearly as bad, in my opinion.
This season?
No, first season. First season was a lot more tolerable. This season, because he killed the dude, he completely went off the freaking deep end when he killed Sarkisian. Sarkisian. I'm sorry, I'm horrible because they created like some of these funky names. It's hard for me to say even Cromartie, you know. Sarkisian, Sarkassian, I don't give a fuck what his name is.
Saran wrap.
But you know, you thought like Sarah killed him from when they were first started talking to the shrink, but it was John that killed him, and because of that, he got all emo. And I'm when we first came back with the show and they were trying to stop Cameron, and the second, he made the decision, no, we're going to keep her alive. I'm putting the chip back in her head. She's going to be fine. From that moment forward, he was some sort of like complete dick and completely moronic. Kept making wrong decision after wrong decision. And then he got snowed by some chick. It's like, dude, he says he knows what's going on. I mean, this is typical of some teenagers. You think you know what's going on, but you really don't. But up until this season, he knew what was going on, and he still knew he had a part to play. This season, he's like, the second he killed the one dude, fuck all that. I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want because I'm the savior. So yep.
Yeah, and I don't even.
Fucker.
He is like, even when he has to explain fucking computer stuff to Derek and his mom, he always sounds annoyed by it.
Yeah,
like, bitch, you're the only fucking person that knows how to do this. Shut up. It's only helping you.
Right. And this is no knock on Thomas Dekker. This is how they wrote the character. So this is totally kind of a creative influence way. Like, this is on the director and how they wrote the character.
The fact that it annoys me is praise for Dekker because
he actually pulled it off.
Yeah. So I mean, don't kill me if you ever hear this, Mr. Dekker said. I apologize.
No, dude, we like him. We like him, Mr. Dekker. It's just, man, they made your character a bit arrogant. Who knows? Maybe the second half of the show, it changes back around and you grow from it. That's cool. We don't know, but we're about to know.
Well, if they would have given the show a fucking chance, I mean, I'm sure there would have been progression in John's character and becoming the man that he's supposed to be.
Right. But instead of rushing through it here.
Yeah. I mean, you see Derek trying to help him be that person. His mom wants him to be that person, but she's not committed to Sparkle Motion like she should be. Like, again, shoot people when necessary. Because it took Cromartie nothing to fucking get that information out of that stupid kid.
Yeah.
And they robbed your house. Fuck it. But speaking of, let's tie all that together. The robbers, the house, and John. The new girlfriend, Riley, really unnecessary character for me. Yep. Like, she's there to catfish John. She's from the future, assumably. And we don't know why yet, but she's like trying to bring something out of John. And you don't know what it is. And I'm beginning not to care.
Because they're taking a little too long to develop that.
Yeah. Like, at this point, I'm just annoyed by it. Her character's kind of in a horse's ass. Like, at first, you're kind of like, okay, she's just a bohemian. She's, she's
whatever.
Yeah. But then it keeps going on, and she's like tempting him to do the wrong thing after the wrong thing after the wrong thing. And then she leaves their fucking house open, probably on purpose.
I think so too.
Yeah. And it gets them robbed.
Oh, I forgot. You're from the future, bitch. You know all about security. Like, don't bullshit us as an audience here.
Exactly. Like, they keep talking about the Greys, the humans that went to work for the machines in order to stay alive. Pretty sure that's what these two chicks are.
Well, no, they were big. God, Jessie. I keep forgetting her name. I keep wanting to say Derek's girlfriend. She was more like bitch friend, but when they were going after Charlie Fisher or Charles Fisher, and they had him tied up in the chair and everything, he was a Gray, and she was trying to take him out because he was like Gray guy number 1 or like second captain or lieutenant, or I don't really remember.
He was their Dr. Mengele, for lack of a better term.
Well, yeah, as we would find out, he was like Captain Torturer number 1, brainwashing and things like that. But she was trying to take them out. Well, she's up to some other sort of plan. I don't think she's with the machines. She's definitely not exactly with the humans. There's something else going on. I think it has something with the 3 dots. I don't know exactly how that plays, but my big problem with all of like Jessie is Derek ain't said nothing to nobody that she's fucking there.
Yeah.
And to tie that back, Jessie and Riley are working together and they're playing the Connors like a set of flashcards. Like, they're playing chess, Connors are playing checkers. Like,
yeah,
I don't know what their game is, what they're trying to pull out of John. I mean, Jessie seemed to think like John's got to get his head back in the game. We need to know, like, that machine's not, they're here to kill that machine. I think they're there for more than that. I think that's what they're feeding Derek to keep him off of her.
or so that Cameron's not a threat to them.
Right. Because they have plans for John, and what the fuck that means, I have no clue.
Yeah. And again, you almost don't care. Like at this point, my big concern is I want to see Derek kill Jesse. Like I really do.
I want him to just be like, you have been playing. I want him to see through her bullshit. And we were almost there. And then she pulled the wool back over his eyes. I'm like, dude, you're letting her slay you like a goddamn violin. And when you do come around, that's going to be too fucking late. Something bad's going to happen or you're dead.
Yeah, like you really want to ask, do they not have gaslighting in the future? Like like he's trying to fucking figure out what she's doing there, and she turns it around on him like, well, why did you sneak in here? Bitch, that's not what's fucking important in this conversation.
Yeah, and like and you got all these pictures of John and everything. What are you doing?
Yeah,
but baby, I love you. Okay, and then he's like, okay, like, dude, stop thinking with the other hat.
Yeah, right.
I know she's your hot ex-girlfriend, but like, dude, well, she's your ex for a reason.
Yeah, the fact that she was even there to be supposedly AWOL says something about her character anyway.
Yeah, and he didn't like that, but oh well, she's hot, so whatever.
Yeah, she didn't wear clothes in the first 2 or 3 episodes that she was in. So I mean, that's forgivable from his point of view, I suppose. But then to have her manipulating Riley and have Riley try to manipulate John,
which is getting completely stupid at this point too.
Yes, like before we ended with episode 11, we see her flip out on her fucking foster parents the way Sarah would flip out on the people in Pescadero.
Yeah.
Talking about everybody's all gone. This is all gone. You're all dead. So I mean, that was kind of fun to see. But then she gets him out of the house at night to go to this fucking party at some dude's house that he doesn't even fucking like.
Exactly.
The mom was the most likable character there, even though she was like a doormat.
Right.
The 16-year-old son is like 30 years old, plays with a Zippo lighter,
yeah,
has tattoos, orders his mom to go get fucking beer and shit.
Then go back to your room, woman.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Sitting there playing with this fucking Zippo lighter like it's fucking cool, or he makes him cool. It's like, give me a sip of that vodka and show me your lighter. I'll show you something cooler. See if that grease in your fucking hair don't stand. But I'm creative. But she sets John up to kick this guy's ass. Like,
yeah, totally.
She was poking the hornet's nest trying to get that anger to come out in John, and he did pull it. Like,
oh yeah, and he whooped his ass.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
That's what I'm like. I mean, by hook or crook, they're pulling a little more of a vicious side out of John here. I mean, I like seeing it. Hopefully that smartens him up, but hopefully it smartens him up to the point of, hey, I'm being played here. And how I thought that should have maybe have gone. I mean, this is like hindsight. We're reviewing the show, but how I thought that might have gone was when Riley flipped out on her parents after Jesse and her had a combo, and she's like, I don't know if I can do this. What I thought might happen was she was going to get him to the party, get him alone, and then be like, I have to tell you something here. There's a bigger story going on. I'm from the future. I'm supposed to be doing something else, but I can't do it anymore. I mean, I'm a fucking wreck. You know, I don't know what to do anymore. I'm supposed to play you. I don't want to do that, but I have to. This is what's going on. And then that starts the breadcrumbs to Jesse, and then whatever the fuck is going on with that. But how they ended up going was she just doubled down on it. She's like, I gotta go harder at him, and I have to get him to sleep with me.
Well, see,
and I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Like, you're almost disgusted by it. And Jesse says, well, gosh, you might even develop feelings for him. Who wouldn't? He's John Connor. That to me was, that's part of the second theme.
Yeah.
This season is very much an allegory for the Afghan war or the Iraqi war, whichever, both. It's all about sleeper cells. It's all about spies. It's all about deception and PTSD. Those were really the big things that went through this season.
Especially the PTSD part. No matter where
Yeah.
you think it came from. That was huge.
And every character has
Form of it.
their own form of it, their own type of baggage. And it's all understandable for the most part.
I think that's
Uh,
where they kind of brought the characters back to a relatability level. Like, I see why they're like the way they are now.
yeah. Like Derek starts to become more likable.
I couldn't believe it
Yeah, right.
until I started not liking his decision making. But
Oh, it started to get better.
yeah,
Hopefully it gets much better. But,
but anyway,
you know, Derek's a likable kind of guy at this point. Like he's smart
yep.
and he's like legitimately got his heart in the right place with helping John. But he has the PTSD and the stories that he's telling these cadets, where it's actually what was it, Kyle, or was it
No, not
or was it
not his
him?
brother. It's another person in the team that they had.
Oh, but yeah, and but he felt that pain in the story that he was telling these kids to the point that they felt the pain that he was feeling.
Right.
But then he convinces them to fucking set a trap for Cromartie and tells them that it's all like operation.
Yep.
But then Sarah, her PTSD comes out in really weird ways.
Yeah.
The first is she's trying to be a mom, and that's kind of a neat aspect to the show. I don't mind that so much. Where you see her finally get to be a mom is when she kidnaps Mike TV, trying to save him from the Terminator,
Yeah.
because he has the same name as was it the Bennett? Was that the guy's name? It was the same episode.
I don't remember.
But it had the same name as the guy at the military academy
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's supposed to have more training than John, even though he was going to go AWOL without John being there.
Right.
So, I mean, there's another fucking deserter.
Marty Bedell.
Marty Bedell, that's right.
Yep.
I knew there was a B in it. But the kid who's totally cool, the kid's not that annoying. I call him Mike TV just because he's smart.
Yeah.
She doesn't hold any secrets with him. She talks to him and treats him just the way that she does John.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have that angst or that resentment towards her. So he lets her help. He lets her be that mom. And Cameron, to a point, kind of scares him.
Right.
But I swear to God, dude, Cameron made that episode for me so bad. When she's letting the kid watch TV,
Yep.
and it's the news of his mom holding up his picture, like on Silence of the Lambs, keep saying his name. Please bring my boy home.
And he's sitting there like, but I have a book report to do.
Yeah, does not give a shit about his parents whatsoever. He's like, I got to do this book report. And there comes the third theme for this season, The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, yeah.
They took the Tin Man reference in the first season, and now they're just blown it way the fuck up. Like they're using the alias bomb, like L. Frank bomb. God, what else did they do? They had the reference of dropping the house on the Wicked Witch, and then of course the book that she gives Mike TV is The Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a really nice scene of her letting him read, and then her letting him take a break and reading to him. And you're kind of like, well, that's kind of a neat side of Sarah. I like that.
Yeah.
And then it went, of course, down to Mexico with the issue with Cromartie and whatnot. And then she cuts herself in the back of the fucking, in the trunk. She's trying to use the aluminum can.
Oh, God, that was gnarly.
To cut out of her tape or whatever. And it goes like all the way into the meat of her thumb, where you could see the metal up underneath the skin, like it's like 15 stitches. And I'm sitting there like wanting to vomit, like shoot anyone in the face that you want, but a little thing like that's going to make me vomit, and it did. It almost did, because it was like, real.
Ooh, that was gnarly.
Yeah, like not even the peeing in the face thing bothered me that much. Like,
right.
I'm really squeamish when it comes to shit.
Well, I like the explored her character, so.
Yes. But then going to what you were saying with the 3 dots, that's where she has that next transition and having weird fever dreams randomly. And all I could think of was, did she hit a peyote tab or peyote button when she was down there?
Well, she said, I think I ate something.
That's what, yeah. Like, what did you eat, Mama? Did you have a little button, a little cactus button? Maybe some mescaline,
I'm
DMT? I
kind
don't
of
know.
wondering if this is where, because she was diagnosed with cancer, or she
Ah,
hasn't been diagnosed with it yet, but I'm wondering if this is the beginning of that. If something of a cancer is giving
ah,
her kind of like these flashes into like the future or dreams or whatever. These dreams are not leading her astray. They're actually serving a point. So you go from wondering like, okay, something's clearly wrong with her, quote unquote, and to a point of, she makes sense. She might be a little crazy, but she's not totally crazy because she wasn't kidding. All the names that were on written in blood on that wall, all of that has paid off dividends, including the three dots. I know the three dots is unresolved at this time, but I don't think she's wrong. And even Cameron made a comment at one point of, we need to explore everything about everything that was on that wall, regardless of how minute you think it was. All these names have a relation to everything that's going on.
yeah. And that kind of takes from the first movie where Sarah has the dream about the future and Kyle and the war in
Right.
general. So I mean, that's not anything new.
We're not
That
calling her like a foretelling psychic or anything like that. But
yeah,
clearly
no,
something's going on here.
well, she was right two out of the three times, or two
Exactly.
out of two times about the three dots. She
Yep.
just doesn't know about the second time yet, I don't think.
Right.
But it got weird because she was having these fever dreams that she's dressed in an Amish gown and she sees this turtle upside down on its back.
Yep.
And the first thing I thought of was Timmy.
That's pretty good.
And then she flips it over and it's kind of underneath the fucking car wheel.
Yeah.
And my brain immediately went to Zorro the Gay Blade, where the Alcaldes tell him that his father had a horrible accident, that there was a tortuga in the road, and the
A
horse swerved to
tortuga.
miss it, and his father got killed. And the Alcalde tells Zorro, my friend, I'll have you know, the turtle was, of course, executed.
That's pretty good. Well, that also reminds me of like after Cameron beat the shit out of Ellison, she flipped him over onto his belly, like because she heard the turtle story. Like, why did your mom turn the turtle over? And then she does the same thing to him just to help him.
Oh,
Just
so
to
he
help him.
doesn't asphyxiate.
Yeah. But she just looks at him like unimpressed, like, okay.
You know, they had an opportunity there to make Ellison really cool. Like Ellison's already pretty cool, but
Oh yeah.
they're making him less cool by being Shirley's little bitch hound, like errand boy, for lack of a better term, lying to the Connors when he should be like he was in Mexico, kissing their ass and trying to figure out where his part is in all this.
Oh, he found his part in all this, and that's fucking everybody over unintentionally.
Yeah, like his heart's in the right place, but his
Oh
brain's
yeah.
not.
Right. Like he's being like completely like snow coned.
Yeah, and the fact that John says that he knew that he was telling the truth was super duper annoying. Like,
That irritated me because you end up finding out that Cameron was right. Here we go again with that line. I kept saying that like as I was watching the first half of the second season, except for the first episode when she was trying to kill everybody. But like every time she says like we should do this, we should do that, we should do this. Oh, you didn't ask. This is the answer to that question. It's like make use of your resource. She's whether you think she's on your side or not, if you can get any sort of information from her, you fucking should. And if she's saying we should kill this person, she's not doing it to kill innocent people.
yeah,
Every
no.
goddamn time, it's if you don't listen to her, it's going to come back to bite you. And every time it has.
Well, you're starting to see her learn things like consideration.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
especially in the episode 11, the Roaring 20s episode, as I call it.
oh, the holodeck episode.
Yep. Oh, I got a question for you.
Yeah,
One glazed, one rainbow sprinkle, or one cinnamon twist?
I'd go with the cinnamon twist. I think cinnamon twist or glazed.
I go cinnamon twist as well.
Like if I had a really good day, I'd say sprinkles because of course sprinkles are for winners.
Yep.
But
And if you
you
don't know
know,
what
I'm
we're talking about, that's a line that Cameron does in the last episode to finagle her way into the library where she can get information.
Yeah, that episode was a little hard. The time jumping thing to the 20s. When you told me about that, I thought you meant like the early 2000s. I didn't realize you actually meant the 1920s. I was like, oh shit.
When you made that,
serious.
yeah, we were chatting like as we were watching some of the episodes, and I was telling him like, I can't believe they went to the 20s with this one, and and I was thinking the 1920s, and then when you said, I can't believe you actually meant the 1920s, I'm like, yeah. It's completely, the whole idea is completely preposterous. It doesn't exactly play out the best as like you would think. However, the idea that, this was an early time jumping, experiment gone completely wrong because they hadn't perfected
Yeah.
time jumping yet. That idea was cool in and of itself. Didn't, I kind of expected the Terminator to be sealed in a wall and eventually get uncovered. I just thought he
Yeah.
would be completely powered down, not have an actual fight. But Cameron
Well, he was
totally
in
whooped his ass in like 2 minutes anyway. But
yeah, he was in standby mode, which
yeah.
I mean, whatever.
Well, it
Saving
also
battery
proves the
power.
point, like, because of our bunker episode in season one, like when he powered down with the T-800 exoskeletons or the metal for it, he shut down in that bunker waiting for Judgment Day. That actually proves that they can wait that long.
Yeah, and because that's their mission.
Yep.
God damn, even that guy was Stark.
Yep.
Iron Man reference.
Yeah.
He wasn't a horrible character per se. I like the fact that he accidentally killed the guy that's supposed to build the tower that he's supposed to go to
Right.
terminate his target. So he has to figure out a way to build the son of a bitch himself.
Right.
And then seal himself up inside a wall.
Yes.
But then Sarah, so what Sarah doesn't know is those 3 stars is what he was looking at. And
Yes.
like Cameron said, that's how he knew he was in the wrong time.
Right.
And that was again one of those things with this show that it made it seem like all these people fucking died in this horrible fire. But like before the fire even starts, when the electricity forms or starts crackling before the Terminator shows up,
Yep.
everyone like beat the fuck out of that place like the cops were coming in. Like they were all
Right.
gone. And the next thing you see, it looks like a fucking Great White concert outside with people lying down, smoke or smoke inhalation,
Right.
dead, trampled. But again, it didn't look that way the way it happened. I want to say like, what was it, 17, 20 people they said died or something like that?
Well, they could have been in other rooms because in like old
Oh,
speakeasies like that, they had other like rumpus rooms of sorts you could go to.
yes. And gambling, I'm sure, as well.
Yes, because when you had the wide shot of that area, they had a little bit of gambling and the bar and just kind of a hanging out area, probably concert music area. But you can safely assume there was other rooms around there that they didn't quite get out of.
Remote franchises of the Chicken Ranch. uh, no, I mean that was okay. Like I'm not a huge fan of the 1920s.
That's what I went to school for. So I'm big on the 20s and US history of the 20s and the 30s. So Prohibition era, baby. That's my jam. But I saw some inaccuracies. I don't need to go into a dissertation on things I was seeing that I'm like, yeah, no, that doesn't work like that. But the speakeasy, I did enjoy that. So I got a mild amusement out of it. It at least feels like a more satisfying mid-season point for stopping because it felt standalone pretty much for the whole episode.
Yeah.
And we got no Derek in the episode. We barely got everybody else. It was largely a Cameron episode, which worked fine by me.
Mm-hmm.
Because the previous episode was a bit annoying at times because we were dealing with the Takagi Corporation, a nice little diehard reference they threw in as they were trying to get the Japanese microchip and dealing with the 3 dots and all of that. But at times that episode was good. But for the most part, I felt like that one missed the target quite a bit. And so if that had served as a mid-season stopping point, I wouldn't have dug it. Now, I went back and I looked. Episode 13 is where they actually stopped the first half of the show when it first aired.
Oh,
We're going up to episode 11 here. But If they had gone traditional route and they stopped at 11, that might have been okay. But I guess we'll find out with these next two episodes how they really ended before their break.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple things to really like about that episode, and that was mainly Richard Jones. Like, I know what we said, Ellison's becoming less likable, but his interrogation
Yes.
of John Henry was fantastic. Like, I
Oh,
really
yeah.
enjoyed that scene because, like we said last week, or last week, last episode, he's very much like Columbo. He has a very individualized style of interrogating people and figuring out what he wants to know.
Oh, absolutely.
And he's very charming at it too. That's one of the things I really like about that character. But trying to figure out how John Henry is responding, which I don't know if we've mentioned it or not. John Henry is what did they just grow that from the Turk?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
we don't know if it's wait, that is the Turk, isn't it? Yeah,
I want
so
to say it
then
was, and then they built it
yeah,
bigger.
he's been like growing and evolving and everything, and they went to a user interface. Now by the end of the episode he had a full human interaction form, which was rather interesting.
Cromartie. That made
Took
my
over
jaw drop.
Cromartie's body basically, yeah, because they killed the chip.
Yeah. And oh, speaking of which, that chip that Takagi-san got from the actor, the middle of it was the Terminator CPU type chip, wasn't it? It looked like it was.
It proved to be a fake.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Like it only had
But they
like
tried to make it look like it was, yeah.
yeah. That scene, I felt bad for Sarah because that guy was pretty cool character.
Oh, Alex Takagi, the dad.
Yeah, I liked him. And I even wrote down, I really like this guy. He's oops, never mind. He screwed over Sarah. like
He's actually from Stargate SG-1 in the later seasons. He was the leader of the Lucian Alliance, loose alien species that, was Goa'uld, and there's a long story involved with all that, but I recognized him, but he didn't have the facial hair because he's got a little goatee going on in the show. And so it
oh,
took me a minute. I'm like, I know that fucking, oh my God, I know that dude. So I had one of those moments because I'm like listening to it and then I'm looking at him. Oh yeah, I know that guy.
and one of the things that they said pillow biters on that episode. Can you still say that on TV?
I guess so.
I know this was almost 20 years ago, but it just kind of seems like an inappropriate thing to say. like
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what they're referring to, but it doesn't sound nice.
Right.
but
Now the one oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
oh no, I was going to go back to away from the Akagis. I was going to talk about this is where we start seeing that Riley is truly damaged goods.
Yeah, the only thing I got one last thing on the whole Takagi thing is that when they were describing the software that the kid was making, they were describing it to Cameron, how the consciousness is running the chip itself.
Mm-hmm.
And she just looked at him like she gave him like this look, and that's when it clicked in me like that's how her chip is different. His software does work, but it's a human resistance chip in the future. Or some sort of
Ah,
programming that him and John work on together because maybe the dad dies eventually. That kid may come back later on and work with John on reprogramming like an advanced level Terminator. Because John may be a genius too, but the way he was talking about the consciousness and the chip, and we had that earlier episode about Allison Young and Cameron and the memory issues and
mm-hmm.
how that was bleeding over back and forth. That kind of made me wonder if there was something there. And then when they were explaining how the consciousness can be put onto a chip and help run a computer chip, and she gave him those look, I just immediately thought, son of a bitch. He's describing her chip. It might be a more primitive version of it, but
But the
holy
concept, yeah,
shit. That concept. Damn. I thought that was a nice touch if that proves to be anything, but I guess we'll see.
yeah. I kind of hope. I mean, I liked that kid. He wasn't a bad character.
No, he seemed like he would actually like if he met fucking John Connor, maybe not super cocky, arrogant, emo John Connor, that they'd maybe be good friends and actually work very well together.
Rob a whole bunch of ATMs.
They're going to rob the biggest ATM.
We're going to hit the one at 7-Eleven. But
yeah, man. And grab a sushi.
Well, you said you really liked that episode, didn't you?
Oh,
where they're flashing back to Allison.
I did like that episode. I know it was definitely a break from the status quo, but her thinking she was human for a while, although she made friends with that fucking moron.
That's where I started like really like getting annoyed with the season. Like the prostitute that she hangs up with. Like the first thing that ran through my head was Trace's voice going, "Nobody ordered a prostitute, take her right away." But,
yeah.
But it's like Cameron is like you said, she forgets that she's Cameron. She thinks that she's Allison. And she's starting to learn things. And this is where she learns deception.
Right.
Because the prostitute keeps coming up with all these various different stories. Like the dude in fucking Total Recall. Man, I got 5 kids to feed.
Yeah.
I thought you had 6 or 4, whatever. But she had horrible inconsistencies with her story. And the only reason why she was hanging out with Karen was because she saw this big old roll of fucking money.
And then when she lost the money, she's like, well, I'll at least get you to a place where you can hang out for a night or two.
Yeah, and then that's where the shit really hits the fan, because then she hits up another prostitute or wayward angel, whatever, and this bitch of a receptionist. Like, if I was Cromartie, I would have shot her square in the face just out of annoyance.
Because he's just asking, have you seen this girl in the picture? Get to the end of the line.
Yeah, bitch.
Just answer the fucking question.
Up. Yeah.
If you haven't seen her, just say no. And then, okay, he's on his way. You know, his version of being a robot is not stupid. Just give him the answer. And if he believes you, he's out of there. He's not going to kill the whole fucking place. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it would not have served his purpose in any way, but would have made him feel better if I was him.
Although when he ejected fucking whatever her name was out of the car, I just totally jumped up and was like, thank you, God. There's a payoff for that bitch.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they went full Grand Theft Auto with that shit. He tossed a
That's what I was thinking.
Out of his car without stopping.
I'm like, holy shit. And she just sits up and she's like, fuck this. And then we never see her again. Well, then he finds the house for Connor, and then Riley's like, I got rid of him. And I'm like, oh, fucking shoot me.
Oh, yeah. That whole, I'm going to go get rid of him.
And then she's like, I got rid of, as they're riding after he leaves and they're riding off, she's like, I got rid of him. I'm a badass. You got to tell me I'm a badass. You got to tell me I'm a badass. And he's like, yes, you're a badass. I'm like, dude, you are so whipped.
If you didn't look like Patricia Arquette, we wouldn't be having this fucking conversation.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, she sucks in every single way. She sucks. Like,
and this is not a woman hating thing in any regard. This is just how they wrote these characters. Is just, it's like nails on a chalkboard. Watching these characters just pull the strings like they're puppet masters, and they're really not.
Yeah, and Cameron, God bless her, she's fucking watching this whole thing, and Summer Glau has a fucking scowl like Batman. Did you notice that shit?
Yeah.
Like when she looks at fucking Riley, she's like Batman looking down at fucking criminals and shit.
I swear, like something in Cameron knows to keep an eye on that bitch. I think, I don't know, hopefully in this second half, she trips up and Cameron's like, bitch, you're gonna tell John exactly what you're doing, or I kill you now.
Yeah,
you choose what happens next. You die, or you tell him the goddamn fucking truth. Because they've already established there's other people from the future back there now, not just resistance fighters, but now other people. Then I think at that point, John has to be a lot more considerate about who the fuck he associates and trusts in his inner circle.
No shit. And instead, he does the exact fucking opposite.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know, I mean, not to jump around, be back and forth, but the way that they got down to Mexico was just that he wanted to take her down there and show him where he grew up.
Big mistake.
Yeah, like why would you go to where you grew up where people like you there's still wanted posters of you basically.
Yeah.
And I mean it's Mexico, so I mean there's peddlers around and this guy's taking pictures of couples, American couples, so he could, get that extra $5, guilt trip the guy in front of the girl. That's the way panhandling goes. But the guy stops with the $5 because John's just like, I'll give you $10 if you just delete the picture. Because all I'm sitting there thinking is, oh fuck, he's going to email that picture and Cromartie's going to pick it up because he's plugged into the internet.
Right.
But no, he recognizes John from being a little kid and Sarah Connor's boy, and he says the name in front of Riley, and from there they get into a short bar fight on accident, and then they wind up in Mexican prison, and nothing happens to Riley. Absolutely none of the guards are being sexually abusive, which is nice. But
or any sort of abusive.
not very realistic for a Mexican prison.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be exactly either sexual. It could just be like mental or like, what you doing in here, mommy? Or they could just be like fucking mean and be like, what the hell you doing associating with his fucking putts? They could be mean in any number of ways.
My favorite example of what could happen to you in a Mexican prison came from Born in East LA, where Cheech is in prison or jail.
Oh, that's funny.
And the two guys are in there going, I like your pants. Why don't you take them off? Yeah, man. Why don't you take off your pants? And you're just like, oh God. And you got the wormy little fucker with the Bible saying, I can save you for $500.
Well, they made their biggest mistake when they put him in the same damn cell, though.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't happen either. And I can't remember the gentleman's name, but the sheriff or the chief was played by the gentleman that played the leader of the Mayans in Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
He's always great. I like him.
He looks familiar. I couldn't place it until now. Thank you.
Yeah, I cannot remember his name, but he was a great actor on the show.
Okay.
And now I want to say he's the lead for Mayans. I'm not sure. I haven't watched any of that.
Probably.
But the jail scene when Cromartie finally got there could have been so much cooler. Like it looked like it was going to get really cool. Before it goes to commercial break, it looks like Cromartie reaches into that bag, pulls out the gun and points it at the sheriff's face while the sheriff isn't looking. And then when the sheriff turns his head, he shoots him in the face. When we come back from commercial and you see a different point of view, he shoots him in like the upper right shoulder.
Yeah.
And like it's all non-lethal shots from there. And that's where I felt like saying, like that's not how it ended. That's not how it happened.
Yep.
That was really my only complaint about that. That the fact that Cromartie could have killed so many people in this series already, or this season, and we're only at the halfway mark, and I want him to kill like half the supporting cast.
Yeah.
Like bring back Charlie. He was useful.
Oh man, he so got kicked to the curb after his wife died. He hasn't been back since.
Yeah, I don't suppose he's gonna, and that kind of sucks. But I mean, at least they did bring him in for a few episodes in the second season.
Yeah, I don't see where you could even really go with him anyway. What is he going to serve a love interest for Sarah Connor? Like we're not there for her yet for that kind of relationship. Her having to use her sexuality to get close to people for investigations and things like that is completely one thing. Last thing we need is another complication to her life.
Yeah, well, that's why she left him in the first place. Once he proposed, exactly. She's like, no, I can't do this to him.
Time to go.
She did it out of not just concern for themselves, but caring for him.
And she's already said that a couple times too. Like,
yeah, like whenever she's mean to people, for the most part, it's trying to help them. The only time she is mean, anybody is mean on this show, where it's really annoying me, and it's happening more and more each episode, is when people are shitting on Cameron.
Right.
Like, yes, they shit on her a lot in the first season, but after her chip got damaged and before John fixed it, and she went, all Arnold-like on them, like everyone just has like this stank eye at her. Right. And she's done nothing else but try to help. And you like her. You like the fact that his pet robot is trying to help him in relationship issues and shit like that. or to protect him from relationship issues.
And she makes way more sense than everybody else.
Yes. And the scene where I don't know what she was trying to do. She takes off her coat and walks into his room while he's lying on the bed. And she lies down next to him.
And he's like, what is this?
Yeah. And my eyebrow kind of perked up. I'm like, come on, sex bot. Come on, sex bot. We've been waiting all season.
There's definitely chemistry between those two. And I thought they mentioned at one point, I don't know if it was the previous season or this season, but like, because John clearly reprogrammed her in the future and sent her back. Why would he just send her back? Why not a different sort of Terminator? Clearly he's got an attachment to Cameron. What it is, we still don't quite know, but I think they're inferring enough that he has feelings for Cameron. How deep they are, I guess we'll eventually see or eventually not see, because this is the only season we got of second season. So
come on, sex bot. It sucks because you forgetting the fact that yes, she is a robot. You do kind of want them to hook up because she's
they're
cool.
A better match than fucking Riley.
Yeah,
I can't stand Riley.
No, it's
not
Riley
on the actress, the character.
Yeah, Riley and Jesse are bad characters that just need to go. And that's really my reason for going on in this series is like, I want to make sure that they get killed in some horrible fashion.
Or get
they probably won't
comeuppance, or sent back to like the 1910s,
Yeah, or the end of fucking time with Kang or some shit.
Yeah, right.
But no, I could totally do without those characters. I could do without that subplot. There is enough outside of that to work within the series that they were more filler. I mean, yeah, I'm sure they'll end up being more in that, but they're shitty antagonists.
Yeah, because you really don't know what the hell they're doing, and they haven't even laid enough breadcrumbs to even remotely figure out what the hell's going on yet.
Like, she was lying to Derek about the fucking watchmaker.
Oh, gee. Well, she was actually right about that, though.
Remember, the religious tones of Satanism here is the best lies are told through the truth. And I think that's what she's doing to him as well.
Oh, do you think she was lying that he was actually there, though, being tortured?
Because
he has, like,
probably
no memory of it, like, at all. Like, none. I mean, you would think if that actually happened to you, they could erase your memories, but you'd still have this feeling of, like,
dread,
something lingering inside, like something doesn't make sense here. Not this, I don't remember that. I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. And even all the way through to the end, he's like, I don't remember shit about this. Even after everything, he's like, I don't remember any of this. I just don't. Well, so it's like, well,
maybe
they haven't proven that they've erased memories yet.
Oh, they have?
They have not, no.
Oh, well, when he was going to shoot Old Fisher and said that he wasn't going to shoot him, he turns and he points the gun at Jesse, and Jesse shoots the old man.
Oh, he's turning because the old man got shot, and so he looks at the young Fisher after Jesse shot him.
Oh, I thought he turned and then shot, or he turned and then heard a shot. Like, it seemed very inconsistent to me.
Oh, no. How that largely went is he was talking to Charlie Fisher, and then he's going to turn to young Fisher, but then old Fisher gets shot, but he hadn't lifted his gun to young Fisher, but he had it like holding like down, like he's moving in that direction, but he didn't have the gun up. But then old Fisher got shot, and then he looks up and he's like, what the fuck's going on? And she's on the other end, and she had shot the old one. She's like, I only wanted to punch the old one. And I love how that episode ended, though. Like, well, he made sure his own ass got sent to that isolation prison, so the cycle continues. And there was a part in the middle of that episode that I thought was a really nice touch, is when they were both sitting alone, the two Fishers. And he's saying, like, you don't know this and you don't know that. And then the young one looks up and he's like, are you gonna tell them why you're really here? Like, he knows. Like, for a brief minute, I'm like, you two fucking know what you're both doing. Like
Yeah.
you're both in, like you've already talked to each other once before.
Ah,
I mean, I
fair
don't,
enough.
that was another thing that was inferred. They didn't clearly state it, but the way he said, have you told them why you're really here yet? It's like, no, you would say that a completely different way. Like, why are you here?
Who are you? What
Not,
is this?
have you told them why you're really here? It's like, dude, you fucking know you're in on it together, but you don't really know what they're in on together other than at the very end of the episode. How did you get into this building? We have your eye print, your retinal scan on here.
But we don't have security cameras.
Oh my God, I know, right? Yeah.
Like,
But still, that was a good way to set your own ass up and put in the back door that nobody will ever crack until Judgment Day.
yeah, right. Where he's completely safe. And yeah. But see, I think he got killed once his usefulness ended. And the young one was spared because the young one still needed to fulfill his destiny, which
Just to die in the opposite side of that chair.
yeah, killed by Jesse. So he's not giving away any information like who she is.
Exactly.
So
Because they started bringing up alternate timelines, and I'm like, that's a red herring. I ain't
yeah,
buying that right now because everything's still fulfilling to the same timeline.
yeah, like this is before we really got into the multiverse type of stuff. But
All right.
uh no, I think Derek's getting played like a fiddle, like you said. John's
That's what I
getting
think.
played
Yeah.
like a fiddle.
Clearly.
The only person that's not getting played by like a fiddle is fucking Sarah and Cameron. Well, I'd say probably just Cameron, but it's, I don't know. I want to see the Connors come out on top.
I
know
think
they
they
don't.
will, but we'll see.
I was going to say, I know they ultimately don't because then you wouldn't have a
Right.
fucking show, but God damn, they need to start making better decisions. Like,
Yeah, we got to get a little more mileage out of this. Like, if this was only going to go like, say, 5 seasons just as a ballpark thing, like, you could get 3 more seasons depending on what you're trying to do, but then you have to wrap it up.
kinda.
And then how do you do that with Sarah dying of cancer?
I hate that. I hated that in part 3, and
I still
hate the
call
fact-
bullshit on that. I think that was doctored into the record set, and she died actually from something else.
mayhaps or didn't die at all.
We don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're just making it up at this point. I don't know. It's like
Too much time jumping.
yeah, too much time jumping, a lot of subplots, strings not coming together yet. Which again, we're only halfway through, so I mean, I'm not terribly worried about that.
No.
I don't know, and then the last episode again, that 1920s episode, good episode for Cameron.
Oh yeah.
Hated the supporting cast. Like the guy in the wheelchair that keeps letting her in at night was a giant pussy. I didn't write down his name. I put study buddy pussy. Like that's all he was. He complained about everything that she did. Complained that she went upstairs. Fuck, dude, she carried you. You're welcome.
Yeah.
He gets bent out of shape because she has a gun. It's fucking LA. Who
And then
doesn't have a gun?
And then he also shoots said gun and has a good time with it.
Yes. Like, and that's pretty normal with anyone shooting a gun for the first time. But the fact that she knew to fucking put up a Yellow Pages book.
Yeah.
That it would actually stop the 9mm eventually. That was kind of fun.
Party episode.
And then I felt bad for her because she was trying to help him by telling him that his cancer's back.
Like, take care of this. Go to your oncologist and have him take a look. It's still small. It can still be removed.
Yeah, and he throws a total little sissy baby crying fit.
Why would you do that to me?
Like, I didn't do that shit to you. Take that shit up with him. But
I don't know. That part of that didn't work for me, but not everything's gonna hit. It's just the way it is for most shows.
I mean, he was somebody to give exposition for the 1920s story.
He's a disposable character.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't a bad character per se.
No.
Well, yeah, maybe he was.
Well, to a point, he was a bad character. There were times I'm like, I could see why these two are kind of friendly. But then there's times I'm like, dude, clearly you don't. If you spent any time with her and you're just figuring this out now, like, what is going on with you?
Yeah. because it's not like Cameron's like the normal teeny bopper like we see her in the very first episode throughout the rest of the series.
Right.
She's almost on the spectrum, some people are assuming in the show.
Right.
Because she's very smart, she's very polite, but she's very plain, like in her speech. There's no metaphors, euphemisms, nothing like that.
Right. And she takes the time to think about after somebody talks to her, like what to actually say instead of split second thinking. It's more like she waits a full second or two to formulate her thoughts before talking.
Yeah. And you could see Summer acting like she's doing computations in her head. And it's very interesting.
All the equations are flying out. Yeah.
Yeah, kinda. And again, that's the aspect of the show that I really like. Summer, of course, is my very favorite part of the show.
She's fantastic.
Yeah. Lena would be my second.
Yes.
And probably Derek be my third.
Yep. I would agree with that assessment. I still think Sarah, I think Lena Headey's doing absolutely fantastic again. I'm just hoping that the character gets a little more consistent. We don't need to keep going back and forth with her sanity questions or things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand like getting distraught over like I should have killed that kid. No, I had that kid got killed because I made the mistake and this or that. That's I get. I just don't want to keep going back and forth on she's crazy. No, she's not crazy. She's crazy. No, she's not crazy. Like, let's just accept we're all fucking a little bit crazy. And can you just deal with it or not? Because if you can't deal with it, go to fucking Mexico and get your ass thrown in jail again. Like, I just want to tell John Connor, grow the fuck up, dude. Like, you say you know what's going on. You do know what's going on, and you still don't give a shit. Grow the fuck up, kid.
Yeah, like how many people got killed this season so far because of John not listening to Derek or his mom?
Or even Cameron, or any of them.
Yeah, like he's gotten several people killed trying to save his ass from doing dumb shit.
Right.
And yes, it's supposed to be like young Clark Kent gonna be Superman, but that's really not the way this show should be going.
Right.
Like, I mean, yes, it's a progression to the man he's gonna be.
Right, which I get.
Yeah, but then they need to use younger actors because this is like watching a 1950s horror film. All the teenagers are in their like late 20s, early 30s.
Right.
And none of them are as young looking as Tom Welling was.
Oh God, I know, right?
I don't know. Like some of it doesn't work at all unless you really suspend disbelief. Like you really have to like these characters in order to be like, okay, I'm going to sit through Jesse and Riley, see what happens next episode. Maybe they'll die. We'll see.
Or she'll get caught.
Yeah, not yet, but maybe.
Yeah.
Like nobody, you can't say nobody gets their comeuppance in the show because some people do.
Oh yeah.
But just not the right people usually. Like, I don't know. I'd like to see more of the annoying people get shot and killed. People probably listen to him going, this guy's a fucking sadist. They're bad characters.
Yeah, and you can only just hope that there's an arc that's going to get completed with this and that everything benefits from it. I mean, yeah, it could make things worse, could make things better, but hopefully these arcs actually like make sense. And that's all you can really hope for because until we see the other half of this of the season, we don't really know exactly what the end game is or where we're going. But that's why we're judging this about halfway through, and then after we watch the next half, and then we come back around, we'll give a final overall assessment on how we felt the second season went. Like, yeah, maybe the first half this is pretty good, but there's definitely some flaws or some not so great characters. But we can come back and be like, in the second half, okay, they resolved a lot of that, and how this ends is excellent, and it ultimately pays off, and therefore the season at that time is a success or a failure if it doesn't do that. So
I don't know if it was because you influenced me or not, but like I was not enjoying that last episode at first. It took me a long while to be like, you know what, that was actually a pretty good episode.
Yeah, I don't know. A Terminator in the 20s, I think, would have wrecked shop, personally.
Oh, it certainly did robbing those banks. That was kind of cool.
That was pretty dope. Yeah, I did like that.
he went full god mode for that shit.
Yeah, that was GTA. No, that was LA Noir set in the 20s is what that is for a video game reference.
No kidding.
But I did like the episode. I didn't hate it, but I knew you weren't like the biggest fan of that though.
No, like it was people are gonna get pissed again. It was better than fucking Star Trek's holodeck going to like the 1800s or playing Robin
All of
Hood
the
or what have
Sherlock
you.
Holmes episodes, yeah.
Some of those are really fun, really cool.
Oh
Others
yeah.
are not so much, like Worf and his kid in the Wild West. Unnecessary.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about that because that's later season Star Trek anyway.
Yeah, but I don't know. It seemed like it was unnecessary at first, and I think that's just because I started to get analytical of this because of the filler episodes.
Right.
Like we did not have filler episodes in the last season, and you start seeing them come the third, fourth episode here.
Yeah, I believe so.
And yeah, I want to say probably after they get rid of
episode.
Charlie.
Yeah.
Like Cromartie's there sometimes, but not always. It's like it was almost like they had enough to pay people for X amount of episodes as they do, and they had to come up with a whole bunch of other shit with like less paid actors to make those filler episodes.
Right.
And that's not bad. It's just not what we were treated to in the first season. But again, writer strike. After those 8 months of watching fucking American Gladiators, Survivor, and
reality shows,
yeah, completely dumb shit. Which I will say, I watched the fuck out of the new American Gladiators.
That was pretty okay.
Yeah, it had Hogan and fucking Ali. So I mean, that was anyway. Terminator. Back to Terminator. I don't know. The one thing I could have had more of, and I guess it's my question to pose to you, is do you think there was enough, just enough, or not enough Shirley Manson?
I think there was just enough, but we could have used a little bit more. But I do like that how they're sprinkling her into the episodes and how we're going with her character. Because I do not know what the deal is, because she's trying to be friends with the kid that's not really her kid. Just like she's trying to be mom to a kid that's not hers.
Well, that's her
and,
cover.
And the kid knows, like, I can't wait. Please, can I have my original mommy back? It's like, oh shit, that kid ain't stupid.
Yeah, right. And then you feel fucking horrible for her because when Shirley tells her, come sit next to me, the little girl fucking pees herself in fear.
Yeah.
And that's where you really start going, whose kid is this? Well, it was the woman that Shirley assimilated, basically.
Yep.
And she didn't know how to deal with kids
at all.
Yeah. And so it's like she's doing all these photo shoots for whatever magazine, and the photographer's going, turn your head to the left an inch. Now a quarter of an inch this way, maybe 2 inches that way. And she's moving it exactly in the measurements that he's asking for.
Right.
But then she doesn't know how to like smile with the kid.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was a very cool scene. I liked that. And then you see her try to be more motherly or convincing by touching the child. And I don't remember if she got that from Sherman or not. No, because Sherman was already
she was
dead.
Watching videos of some sort because she was educating herself on like how to interact better because she's trying to protect her cover.
Yeah. And you could almost think, speaking of her cover and all the things that she's doing with her machinations and shit, is maybe trying to make SkyNet different or bigger, better. I don't know. But she's very it's hard to say, describe what she's doing. It's like she has all these different ulterior motives to raise John Henry. Like it's a kid that's hers, but not. Like it's just like what we were saying with the little girl. She doesn't know how to communicate with it or make it better. And that's kind of interesting because now it's like you sit there wondering, like, what is her end game?
Yeah, because it's very unclear.
Yeah, and I really hope that we get that resolution before the end, because I know it ends on a cliffhanger that nobody liked. We talked about that last week.
Yeah.
And I hope it's just that's not what it leaves you hanging on. It's like, is she going to get them or what?
Yeah, I haven't looked ahead. I don't know, but I do know like a lot of people have said it's a great cliffhanger, but it's also a horrible cliffhanger because it really leaves. It's the definition of a cliffhanger. It leaves you wanting more because it's not that satisfying to just leave it like that. Having those kind of cliffhangers is not always good, especially if you're going to get canceled.
Yeah, and specifically if you work at Fox, because that could happen at any random point in time.
Exactly.
You know, Cy told us that.
Yep. Ethan and Cy from our Brimstone episode. Great interviews. Go back and check those out.
Oh gosh, when they were talking about working at Fox, like I was both enthralled and feeling empathetic for them because like they were great. The show was smart and Fox is stupid.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I remember the names of Glenn Morgan and James Wong, Space Above and Beyond. They would probably say the same damn thing. That's why they moved on to movies
Yeah, and
and other shows, you know.
oh well, I mean, sometimes it's a blessing. Not all the time, but things getting canceled in certain ways is a blessing.
Yeah.
Constantine is an example of that. NBC shit can that. Well, now Matt Ryan's got all these different animated features that he's doing, and the CW for a little while. Which the first couple episodes were not bad of that show, and then it got crap. But anyway,
Yeah.
back to Terminator. I just want to see Ellison have some kind of fucking come to Jesus revelation that he's getting duped,
Yeah.
and I kind of want to see Shirley make her end game.
Yeah, more than anything, Shirley's endgame needs to become a lot more clear. Whatever we end up doing with Ellison is one thing, but like we have literally no idea what she's doing other than fostering this AI into existence and trying to encourage it and build it up more. Like there's something more there, but they really haven't dipped into it like at all.
Yeah, and they're making neat references and speculations.
Oh
But
yeah.
again, knowing that this is a canceled series, Lord only knows if we're going to see that yet or
Right,
see it
like
at
what
all.
was the long-term plan versus the short-term plan of this particular season? And I'll say this, the first half, it's setting things up pretty good as long as there's a little bit of payoff for some of these other subplots. Like we can't have like everything dangling at the end. If that's the case, then that's going to be a little disappointing. But I am excited. These episodes have me ready to watch the rest of this, and we will, because that's our show. But I'm still looking forward to this. I'm still having a good time, but there are definitely moments I'm like, I don't know about this particular scene. I don't know about this particular character. Don't know about this particular subplot. But I can be nitpicky. I mean, we're all nitpicky. You just want to the show can be really excellent if they could finesse it a little bit more. Most shows take 3 seasons to hit their groove and peak around season 3 to 4. I'm thinking, we'll see how the rest of the season goes, but I think if it had another season, I think they might have figured out the formula and then they would have cruised to the end.
I think so. Like closing this chapter, it's a beginning, middle, end is what they really should have had. They have the beginning and the middle, and then it dangles off from there.
Right.
And golly, you like these characters enough, except for John, that you really want. Well, you do like John. You want to know what happens. Like it is a compelling story. They are compelling characters. When you asked yesterday if I was not liking it, and I was like, no, I'm just pissed off because I'm emotionally invested.
Exactly. Same with me over here too.
Like I want to go get the Foley remote and throw it at the fucking TV to change the channel half the time. But
yeah, that's a show that's actually pulling an emotion out of you, so it's doing something right, even if it's wrong.
Like I'm rooting for some characters, not the main characters. I'm wanting the antagonist to kill the protagonist because he's not fucking worth shit.
Yeah.
Like I put on one of my notes is John not competent enough to lead his own fucking ass to the toilet.
Well, it almost reminds me of, you brought up Star Trek. Wesley Crusher in Star Trek The Next Generation. Wasn't until like later seasons that he actually became a useful character. Before that, he was just this annoying, arrogant little shit. So, there is evidence of kids in sci-fi of a particular teenage age range that are just these sniveling little shits that play no role in the show. And even though they're trying to get you invested in because you're a young kid. When I watched Star Trek: The Next Generation, Wesley was never my favorite character ever. That's not what pulled me into Star Trek. I was watching the adults do everything. And I can say the same thing about Terminator. I'm not here to watch young John Connor. The show is called the Sarah Connor Chronicles. So I'm paying a lot more attention to Lena Headey, and she's rocking it. And then everything else just kind of is secondary to me. So I just go according to that. Because if this was the John Connor Chronicles, then they need to do a better job of making John a better character.
Yeah, he needs to give his mom less shit. Like, that doesn't need to be her daily or weekly chronicle. Little ungrateful bastard did this. Little ungrateful bastard did that.
Yeah.
Lost 5 friends today because little bastard wanted to go to fucking Mexico.
Yep. And not wanting to fold laundry, he gives it to the perfect killing machine because he doesn't want to fold laundry.
Yeah, that was really fucking stupid. I'm getting really...
I did laugh at that, I will say, but I thought that was stupid because Sarah gives her the laundry. And he's like, what are you doing giving that to a perfectly good killing, to the most perfect killing machine ever created? And then so she's like, well, you're not doing anything, hands him the laundry and leaves. Then he turns and he's like, well, you are pretty good at folding laundry, and hands it to her. I'm like, oh, fucking just slam dunk him outside.
Kind of, I would just drop that fucking basket and be like, your mom told you to do it, bitch.
Yeah.
Of course, everyone knows what kind of dad I am now. Your mom told you to do it.
Yep.
But, it's... I like it. I want to see what happens next. And again, I'm still crossing my fingers. Sex spot, sex spot, sex spot.
It's a McGlow rocking it.
Because she's better than that stupid lady. Riley, or whatever the fuck her name is.
Yeah. I mean, like we keep saying, it's not the actors, it's the characters. Just keep reminding ourselves of that. So
no, everybody played their role perfectly. Like nobody's giving a half-assed performance in this show. No one is an unlikable actor where you just kind of like you can't believe them from any angle. No, everyone on the show is great. Yeah. Some of the characters are just really fucking annoying though, and that's just TV in general.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
Like it's soap operas, it's periodicals. There's always going to be those types of characters.
There's got to be a little bit of this kind of drama involved. It's just the way network TV rolls.
Yeah, and granted, this was around the time that I almost kind of sort of stopped watching network TV because of that.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, this is something I think we probably touched on it last week, and I'll say it again next week. I would have loved to have seen a movie with these characters, these actors, these characters, and have, again, a good, concise story. But I don't think we'll ever get that. It's I don't know what they're going to want to do with the franchise from this point.
Yeah, it's really hard to say what they're thinking about. They're probably going to reboot it for the 900th time. We'll see. Or just let it sleep. It doesn't hurt anything. Just give it like a 5-year break. Come back with a new, fresh idea. Or if James Cameron comes back and he's like, hey, I'm not directing it, but here's the story that I had in my head. Somebody do this, and I'll give you pointers on how to fix the script if you want to put something else in there.
So John and Sarah go on this boat, and he meets this girl on the boat, right? Turns out she's a Terminator, and they start fucking in this car, and the Terminator's got this other boyfriend, right? But he's a fucking jerk.
You say that, and the first thing I think of is, screaming, I'm on a motherfucking boat. I'm on a boat.
I'm on a boat, motherfucker. Don't you ever forget. My wife hates the Lonely Island. She does.
Well, I think they're perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with them. You don't have to like their music, but I get a kick out of them.
I do. I was watching Master Pancake tonight, and they were showing them. They were playing Dick in a Box for the pre-show to Santa Claus.
Oh, there you go.
To town. Yeah. Brandy's like, is that JT? What is he doing? Holding the box up. Just not with his hands.
Ka-pling!
But anyway, I think that's just about it for these 11 episodes.
We are now halfway.
We're halfway. We've been on Terminator month for 2 weeks now.
Yeah, a couple weeks now.
And I'm already
having a good time.
I'm having a good time. I'm feeling affected. Like,
Yeah.
again, I told you I went to my kids' fucking Christmas recital today, and my eyes are scanning every single fucking exit to see where they are. And I'm looking at everybody walking in with like unholy distrust. And then, like, tonight, there's a random knock on my door. My daughter goes running to the fucking door and opens it. Doesn't know who the fuck it is. And I'm trying to get my kid to understand, don't open the door. You don't open the door for people. I will open the door. And my wife's getting all pissed off. I'm like, do you realize how much fucking Terminator I've been watching in the last 2 weeks? Do you know how many Kevin Smiths are in the fucking phone book here? We don't just randomly open the door.
Right. Unless it's Cameron from the future.
Yes. We'll open the door for a sex bot or a pretty murder bot.
Yep.
I'm good either
I agree with that. Yep. Definitely.
All right, man. Well, this was a good half of a series. I like this so far.
Yep. And we will be back in a few short weeks with our follow-up to Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, Part 2.
Well, according to everyone else, we're gonna have a lot more swearing on that episode.
Yeah, I'm willing to believe that. Now we'll see how it goes. All right. Peace out, everybody.